I've been thinking about this a lot lately. The similarity between politics and divorce, and specifically within divorce, domestic violence. There is such a similarity between how we hook on to our political parents. That's what I call them. We all look at the people we vote for as people who actually like us and want to look out for us. Trust me, there are very few of those people. There are more so people who love power and money, love having Social Security paid for the rest of their lives, having their own health care for the rest of their lives, and they hang on to this power. And I don't know how much help they give us. I don't care what party they're on. I'm not a party person, by the way. Therefore, I'm not a marriage person. Well, I work in the field of divorce. I'm a mediator and a paralegal. So I file for people, and I really do feel for people. No, I'm actually a nice person. When you come to the office, I give my condolences. I know this is hard. I help them change their communication so that they can have a better divorce experience, because as we know, it's the words we choose and the tone of voice we use that will make or break a divorce settlement, either cause you to run screaming to the attorneys to do everything for you and really cost you an enormous amount of money, or go to somebody like me and pay far less money and get an outcome that suits both of you with less drama. But as I'm watching our political upheaval in this country, and it's a political upheaval, it's just horrible. It's not a race or a contest between ideas. It's really the difference between violence and nonviolence. That's what it is. And if any of you think this is a policy election, you are absolutely wrong. You are. This is not a policy election. This is a violence election. And so the same is in divorces. Here's what happens, and I watched it in politics starting in 2015 with Donald Trump. In divorces, you start with emotional abuse, and it goes into verbal abuse. So emotional abuse and verbal abuse are kind of the same, because the person expressing abuse does it verbally at first, and it works on you emotionally. Or if they just do it emotionally without the verbal underpinning, it's like they ignore you. They starve you for emotion. They starve you for affection. Like they just won't be loving and kind and gentle. They won't do things like just putting their arm around you and hugging you just to give you security. No. They will start treating you in ways that'll make you doubt yourself, that'll make you feel less than, that'll make everything a contest so that you give in or you blow your mind. And then it gets physical. Because until that motivation inside of the abuser is gone, or the abuser is gone, it will escalate to a point where somebody will get tragically hurt, i.e. killed, or child abduction. That's another expression of abuse, child abduction. So as I'm watching our political lives, oh my God, they're up for grabs. You know, I did a video on another site that I was talking on. I did it on the people that we each vote for. So we vote for people that we think are the best choices, okay? We have our reasons. Sometimes our reasons make sense. Sometimes they're well-founded. Sometimes they make no sense at all, and we can't even articulate what our reasons are. Just like, why did you marry the person you married? I don't know. Not a good enough reason. Well, I thought, we got along, we were friends, or, we remind he or she, can be either gender, just reminded me of my parent. Well, your parents may not have been the best parents. And when we go to vote, we kind of are voting for people who we think are going to take care of us. We kind of look at them as our political parents. And when we marry somebody, we look at them as they're going to take care of us. Kind of a, reflection of what we expected out of our parents. We expected them to take care of us. They're our parents, for God's sakes. Well, these people running for office, you think they have our best intentions of heart? I don't know. Haven't we seen differently? Haven't we seen the erosion of the Supreme Court and the way we use the court system starting in 2000, Bush v. Gore? Think about that, with the Supreme Court doing what they should have never done, which is stop the recount in Florida. They should have never done it. And Al Gore capitulates. Al Gore does nothing. He agrees to be a little lamb to the slaughter. Just like in marriage. The person who's being abused, or who allows themselves to be a victim and to be abused, because at a certain point it is a choice. Because the only way you're going to get out of it is either you're going to die or you're going to choose to get out of it. So at some point, it's either going to get the best of you, your marriage that has abuse in it, and your political system that has abuse in it. They abuse us. We allow them to abuse us. And then comes Donald Trump, the biggest abuser of all time. And it doesn't matter that he's on the Republican ticket to me. This is not about conservatism. This is about decency, human behavior, and what we allow to have happen to us. The Republican Party could have gotten rid of Trump. They could have done something. I mean, there's all these different ways. You know, Trump's cabinet was going to call the 25th Amendment on him on January 6th because he was acting deranged, like letting this Capitol be stormed. Yeah. In divorce, we marry who we marry. We may have had no clue this person is a problem. We may have had people around us who told us this person you're going to marry is a problem. And of course we didn't listen. I mean, who listens, right? No. We feel motivated. This is it. I know this is it. You don't know this person. Meanwhile, you have all of these queasy feelings in your stomach. You know, you don't want to admit the people telling you you're going to be marrying somebody who's not good for you. You don't want to admit they're right, but they are right. They can see what you can't see, and they're trying to help you. But you have to do what you have to do. This is your life journey. So I don't want anybody to really beat themselves up. You can't go into your own self-abuse. You can't do that. This is a learning lesson. We all go through learning lessons. So the people who are voting for Trump, if he wins, you will learn. You will learn how wrong you were, unless you really agree with him. Unless you are a racist, unless you oh God, what is it when you feel paranoid? Or you have no moral center. You may be that person too. All right, then you get along with him, then you like him. But let me tell you how people vote against their own best interests, and people marry against their own best interest. People know they shouldn't marry somebody because everybody tells them. They marry anyway, and they find out, of course, everybody was right. Rarely is everybody wrong because they have a different vantage point. I'm not wrong about Donald Trump. I have followed this man since the 90s, 80s, because he was on a million talk shows, and I'm a talk show junkie, and I always knew there was something wrong with him when he talked. Very dark individual, kind of like hollow soul. But he's a great marketing person, and he actually has exceptional charisma. I mean, he really does have those two things going for him. Like when you marry a narcissist, you think they're the most charming people known to mankind. You do. They are charming. But there's something wrong in their behavior. It's too much. It's always over the top. Love bombing. Trump love bombed. You know, Trump came from The Celebrity Apprentice. You know, nobody knew he was broke at the time, you know, except Mark Burnett knew he was broke. But what did Mark Burnett know? Mark didn't know he was going to run for office. There were some NBC executives on recently that were saying, I feel horrible. I advanced this man. Everybody thought he was wealthy. Everybody thought he was powerful. He was none of that. He didn't even have a boardroom. He was broke. We had to build the boardroom set. He didn't have a boardroom. Just like when you marry somebody. They tell you who they want you to think they are, and they're not. Our political parents tell us who they want us to think they are, and they're generally not. And so even though I'm like scared to death Trump may win, scared to death, hopefully it won't happen, but there's a lot of work that has to come out of the Democratic Party. Please, people, if you want to scream about, oh, Judy, what about the Democrats? We can have a Democrat conversation. I have a lot of shit to say about the Democrats, too, that I don't like. Believe me. They have not engaged the Republican Party in big ticket conversations like they should on immigration, on abortion. They haven't. They've just turned a deaf ear to what the conservatives are saying and just used their own opposite mantra. It's not the way to come to, I'm a divorce mediator. It's not the way to come to compromise. And in a democracy, we have to compromise. We really, really do. So I'm scared to death that Trump's going to win because I know my history. I've studied it. I know what the authoritarians sound like. I know, you know, the different countries that practice authoritarianism. I obviously know my Nazi Germany history. I've always wondered, well, how is it that Hitler got to power? I mean, he told everybody what he was going to do. He was going to exterminate Jewish people, all minorities, other things he was going to exterminate. He did everything. He did everything he said he was going to do. Trump will do everything he says he's going to do. And it's just astonishing the people who either pass that off, oh, that's just Trump. No, that's not normal to say things like that. Divorcing people. No, it's not normal for your possibly soon-to-be spouse to be waiting in your driveway every day wanting to cook dinner and massage your feet. That's going to get old. That's going to get old. It's going to get over quickly. It's not normal to do that. It's wonderful to be nice. It's not normal to be that nice all the time. It changes like that, and it becomes abuse. Because you've already manipulated the person into wanting to give back to you, to feeling like you're the best person known to mankind that's come in to save them. From what? You could be having a thriving career, happy as a clam, cats not kids. And this person comes in to change all of that for you, and you allow it to happen. And then your life becomes a living hell. Then you don't know how to get out of it, because then it goes into physical abuse. OJ and Nicole. OJ and Nicole. She loved that light. She loved that celebrity. She loved that money. She wasn't a bad girl. My understanding from many people, yeah, there was drug abuse, substance abuse, volatile emotional relationship, and she died. She got out of the marriage, but she didn't get out of the co-parenting relationship. If you have kids, that relationship goes on. You don't get to go out of it unless you are in hiding. And if you're afraid for your life and your children's life, yeah, you can go into the spouse witness protection program. Politics and divorce are alike. The abuse that goes on in both is the same. And so those of you who are still on the fence about getting out of the marriage, get out. It's never too soon to get divorced. Get out. Life is much better once you extricate yourself. And for those of you who still don't know who to vote for, The Democrats aren't perfect, but they're not violent. You're not going to have that level of abuse. So just think about this. You're not a victim unless you make yourself a victim. You're only a victim in your own eyes. You have to figure out what allowed you to go victim and change that and get out. And however you're hung up in politics, if Donald Trump gets in, your life will be a living hell. And you're going to come to me and say, just like Jewish people said, who didn't get out of Germany before the Holocaust started, I didn't think it would happen to me. In politics and in marriage, I didn't think it would happen to me. It did. It will. You need to get out